the Jason Taylor All In for Literacy Virtual Poker Championship Volume 6, hosted by Faded Spade. Wednesday, October 21st, 2020 at 6:30 p.m. Play alongside Dolphins legends, TV and radio personalities, and the Fin Addicts. Entry into the qualifier tournaments is a $99 donation to the Jason Taylor Foundation. But you can enter to win a free seat in the tourney simply by subscribing to the Fin Addicts Network on YouTube and DMing us a screenshot of you doing so. What's more, if you finish higher than all 5 Fin Addicts, you will also win this rad mini helmet actually signed by Jason Taylor himself. So what are you waiting for? Go subscribe to us on YouTube and let us know so everyone can go all in on literacy, a word we definitely didn't misspell.
Welcome to the Fin Addicts Miami Dolphins podcast, hosted by yours truly, Savak. And of course, I am joined by my co-hosts Brian Byrne and Jason Sarney. But sorry, fellas, today is not about y'all because we are joined by a very special guest, Miami Dolphins quarterback from 2000 through 2004, a stint that featured 3 seasons of 10 or more wins, 2 of which were 11-5 seasons, 2 postseason appearances, including the last playoff victory by a Dolphins quarterback. Now currently the owner and operator of the Sports Academy at Brookwood Camps and the Primetime Sports Camps, along with his brother Scott, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome Jay Fiedler. How you doing, Jay?
Savag, I'm doing great, thanks. That was a great introduction. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. We appreciate you being here, and I got to say, it touches me personally because you were the starting quarterback during the era when I really first started watching, so I'm very personally invested. But before we dive into the past or the future, I'd like to touch on the present. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about these camps you're running?
Yeah, absolutely. It was actually a family business that I got into after I retired. My dad has always been he was a high school basketball coach. He coached guys like Anthony Mason and Norm Roberts. He was kind of a legendary coach in New York City basketball circles. And in the summertime, he owned a summer camp business. And after I retired, my brother was running the business with my dad, and my dad was kind of getting up there in years and looking to move on, and it opened up the opportunity for me to get involved. And when I started running Brookwood camps with my brother Scott, we decided to kind of niche ourselves in the industry, and we turned our traditional summer camp into kind of a hybrid between a traditional camp and a sports camp. So with our connections, my connections obviously in the football world, and some other connections in sports broadcasting and other sports. My brother had great connections in basketball and a close connection to Leo Mazzoni in baseball. We were able to assemble a tremendous staff of instructors that come up and work with our campers every summer and offer great instruction in an atmosphere where kids could just go out and have fun in a great summer experience. And then, the primetime camps that you talked about, as well as a football training business that I have, that I've been running football camps pretty much since probably the year before I got down to Miami. And when we first got it going on, the primetime camps were filled with Miami Dolphin players that I'd fly up to New York and spend the weekend up at Brookwood, and we'd have great weekends up there. I ran some camps down in Florida as well under the primetime banner. I've been doing that, training kids from ages 6, 7 all the way up to professional level players for a long time, and that's been a fun business as well.
Very cool.
Outstanding. So Jay, before we start, we like to get our listeners involved. So we have a poll that we ran, and it is, what is your favorite Jay Fiedler game? First option was the Oakland Raiders post 9/11 game. Yeah. The second option was the Colts playoff victory. The third one was the Bronco last second. I think it was like a 53-yard field goal on Sunday Night Football and then other. We'll come back to it at the end, but do you, out of those games, did one of those stand out as one of your favorite memories?
Yeah, I mean, well, all of them are great memories, to be honest with you. Obviously the one that, or really the two that people, that stands out in people's minds. Obviously the Oakland one was memorialized with the cover of Sports Illustrated, and you see it in the background over there. And that being the first game back from 9/11, had extra special connotation and what happened. Obviously what happened in the game and how the game finished. It was special, but everything that led up to that as well was certainly a memorable experience for me. Being from the New York area, knowing people that were affected personally. With 9/11 and being able to give the country kind of a return to normalcy, for a weekend at least. It was a great experience. And then obviously the playoff game, which I still can't believe is the last playoff victory that the Dolphins have had. Hopefully we could change that one soon. But that was another great victory, a comeback victory at the end. 2-minute drive to tie the game up at the end of regulation, and then Lamar Smith just throwing us on his back throughout much of the game, and the big overtime run to seal the victory was tremendous.
I think we all say that begrudgingly that was our last victory. It was my first ever Miami Dolphin playoff game. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget after he ran it in. That whole stadium was like bouncing.
It was great. What an atmosphere amazing. That was, wasn't it?
It was insane. All right, so back into the normal questions here. So, Jay, you came out of Dartmouth after the 94 season, and you had a brief stint with Philly in 95, but didn't see the field. You didn't catch on with another NFL team until 98 with Minnesota. I personally love an underdog, perseverance story. What kept you going those 3 years to keep you trying for your NFL dream?
Well, look, it wasn't easy. Obviously I started out in Philly. I was backup quarterback for 2 years, 94, 95, made the team as an undrafted free agent. I chose Philly over a few different options, mainly because, number one, the coach was Rich Kotite at the time. He was pretty sincere in letting me know that I was going to get a fair shot to compete for a roster spot. And the competition there was, I thought winnable. So, decided to go to Philadelphia and, spent 2 years there, but never saw the field in any regular season action, played a little preseason. They had the ownership change from my first year into my second year, coaching change from first year into second year, really a huge turnover with the whole organization. And I got really a lesson in how politics work in the NFL during that time. I saw it how, in my second year in Philadelphia, they ended up cutting a quarterback that they drafted in the 4th round to keep me on the roster, and learned after the fact that, the coaches really had to stand up on the table and fight to keep me on the roster. So, the following year when Philly drafted a guy in the 2nd round, I kind of saw the writing on the wall. I knew, that, my spot really wasn't, going to be afforded to me. I really didn't have a shot at winning the job no matter what, unless an injury came about. So I actually asked for my release going into that training camp. Here I am, a 3rd-year guy, who was undrafted, never saw the field, but all I wanted was just a chance to compete, and I knew I wasn't getting that chance in Philly. But they had my rights. They kept me through training camp, and about a week into training camp, released me. Got picked up by Cincinnati 2 weeks into their training camp with 5 guys on the roster, and And then I was out of football for the next 2 years. So, it was a long haul. It was a tough process. I made the decision when I got cut in Philly and Cincinnati that, I was going to, keep myself in shape, keep myself ready. I went back home. I actually volunteered to coach with the Hofstra football team, Hofstra University in Long Island. And, it was a great opportunity for me because I was able to go out every day, use their facilities, train myself, use the weight room, go out and throw to the receivers every single day. So, for me, it was awesome to be able to stay in shape. I went out to NFL Europe the following year. It was actually before it was even called NFL Europe. NFL was, sent a lot of players, allocated players out there, but it was still the World League of American Football at the time. And, played a season in Amsterdam, and it was I wouldn't say it was a great season, but gave me experience and kept me focused on the game. Came back and spent another year coaching at Hofstra again. And, throughout the whole time I was calling up teams. I was, we had scouts that were coming out to look at the players we had on the Hofstra team. And, we had a great people around that organization. Raheem Morris was one of the safeties. Gio Carmazzi, who was drafted ahead of Tom Brady and with the 49ers, was on that team. Lance Schulters, who was a safety in the NFL for 8 or 9 years, was there. So we had plenty of scouts that were coming around. So, I'd always kind of, poke my head in and make sure that they knew that I was still working out and still available and ready to go. But, it wasn't until the following year that I, really just put together a last-ditch effort to get an opportunity to get my shot. Had copied 30 some odd VHS tapes of all my, college highlights, my preseason NFL highlights, my NFL Europe highlights, sent them out to every single team along with, some recommendation letters from, my high school coach, my college coach, my agent, and other people. And I got one response from the Minnesota Vikings. And, they brought me in, and that was really my foot in the door to get back in the league. And, when it was all uphill from there, getting back in. I went out for a tryout in March of 98, and they signed me right after that workout. I played the season in 1998 in Minnesota, went down to Jacksonville the following year in 99, and then 2 years after getting back into the league, got my opportunity to compete for a starting job in the league.
You don't ever have to talk about that Jacksonville 1999 team ever again. I really take pride in doing my homework, and I blew the Amsterdam World Football League homework on you. Do you still remember the name of that Amsterdam
Admirals?
Amsterdam Admiral. I got to look for a Jay Fiedler Amsterdam Admirals jersey. I'm going to hit eBay after this interview's over.
If you can find one of those, tell me. I might beat you on it.
I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to outbid me.
Love the story, Jay. I have a little bit of a continuation to your career path, of course, and it has a little bit to do with that 1999 run. But before that, little side tidbit here. It's really fun to have another Queens-born and Long Island-bred person. I love my brothers from the Fin Addicts, but I need an accent that's similar to mine right now. So this is great right now. So, obviously everyone knows you're the Miami Dolphins starting quarterback, but were there any other teams prior to the Dolphins that were giving you an opportunity, or were there any other contenders there for your services?
There were a couple other teams that showed interest, but Miami was the first team that I visited. They showed the most interest in offering me a chance to compete for a starting job. I knew that when they brought me in that Dan was retiring, and it was a wide open competition. They didn't have anyone set in stone there, so I jumped on the opportunity right away, before any other teams really had a chance to bid in with that.
Before Savak jumps in, how was that relationship with Damon Hewer that year when you guys were competing for that job, to the dubious honor of taking over for Dan Marino, I would say? How was that relationship between the two of you?
Well, we were great. We were teammates, so we pushed for each other and wanted each other to do well. But we also knew that we were competing and wanted to prove every time we got reps in practice that we deserved more reps. Each time that we went out, and there was no animosity, there was no rooting against the other guy, but you want to go out and put your best foot forward and prove that you're better than the other guy that's in the room with you.
Absolutely. Nature of the game, right? And I do think it's a little ironic, too, that you spent a season in Jacksonville. It's actually where I live now. I feel like I'm constantly doing these calls with Northerners. I'm surrounded by them.
Getting the Duval call in the background there?
Duval. Yeah, we get it a lot. But so, Jay, we are huge fans with the Fish Tank. We collaborate with those guys, love them over there. And we don't want to do the same interview, of course, that they did, but we would be remiss if we didn't ask, what was the day-to-day like following the most decorated Miami athlete in Dolphin history in Dan Marino? I mean, was there ever a point where it was just like enough is enough with the comparisons, or frustrating hitting a high point?
Yeah, it was a little bit like Groundhog Day going through that, especially that first season. And I think Harvey Green and I used to laugh a lot. And Harvey was the PR director at the time for the team, so spent a lot of time with him, the press conferences and the Wednesday press chats with the opposing team media. And that was the time that it really became like Groundhog's Day, because each week you'd get a new set of media personalities from the opposing team that didn't get the answers that you told the guys the week before. So it was always the same questions over and over, just like you asked me 20 some odd years later, what was it like to follow Dan Marino, and do you feel the pressure, and do you it got to the point where Harvey and I would laugh. I said, just hit the tape recorder here, this week, and we're just going to put the tape out, and I don't even have to show up for these Wednesday sessions.
I mean, 20 years later, they still the first game of every year they do the list, right? They go from Marino to who's starting this year. It's still not. But I remember when you took over in those first few years. I mean, every single game on CBS, they would just bring up the comparisons, and it just would never end. You would never know it, Jay, but I from you and Jason here, I'm actually in New York too. I'm in upstate New York in Albany. You would never know it from the accents, but I am still here in New York. But in 2000, you helped the Dolphins pull out its last playoff victory in franchise history versus Peyton Manning led Colts. Did you get a moment to reflect after that season, going from the 3 or the 2 years out of the league to the playoff winning quarterback, and just what did that mean to you, fighting so hard to get that opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, it was it was a great season. Just being able to go out there, to win the starting job, which became a little crazy to begin with, because I went into that training camp, ahead on the depth chart and kind of poised to win the job. And then, I was in surgery right before the first preseason game, getting my hip scoped out with a torn labral tear in my hip. So, I didn't know what was going to happen. When the doctor told me I could be back on the field in 20 days, I was relieved, and did everything I can to get back as quick as possible and show myself and be ready to play for that season. And was able to keep that job going into the season. And obviously we had a great year, 11-5, won the AFC East, A lot of people, were counting us out early in the year, and we proved a lot of doubters wrong that year, and went on with the playoff game. I didn't have much time to reflect after that because I had a torn shoulder up pretty much for the past the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season. I think it was in the Tampa Bay game in December that tore my left shoulder up, and if you look back at a lot of those late games in the season and that playoff game, I was handing off with my right hand both ways. I couldn't even hand the ball off with my left hand. So, if there was a running back going to my right, I was doing a backwards handoff with my right hand, to the running back. So, pretty much right after that season ended, I was in surgery and rehabbing through that whole off season to get ready, for another year in 2001.
Now, jumping ahead just a season, as a fan, 2002, that was a painful year for us. You went 7-3 as a starter. Ricky led the league in rushing. There were 5 All-Pros on the team. 4 of them were on defense, and you injured your finger. So I have to ask, how good do you think that team could have been? How far do you think y'all could have went?
Yeah, that was probably our best team during the time that I was there. We had our everything rolling right up until that Denver Bronco game, and through that Bronco game, I think we were 6-1 or 7-1 after that game. A big, I think it might have been a Sunday night game, but
yes, it was.
Yeah, it was a Sunday night game, and we had that last second field goal, and I broke my thumb, somewhere early in the fourth quarter, and came to the sideline, and I saw KO, the trainer, and he's looking at it, and I was able to just grip a ball just enough to be able to throw it, but he was feeling it, and my thumb was moving ways that had never moved before. So, I knew something was up, but I didn't think anything of it. As long as I could grip a ball and throw, I was going to finish that game out, and I was able to grip it enough to get it over the linebacker and into Dedrick Ward's hands to set us up for the field goal to win the game. 50-yard field goal by Lindo Mare, and right after the game, I went to go get the X-rays, and the plane ride home, that hand started to swell up pretty good. So, I knew at that point that I was going to need some surgery on it, and got a screw in that finger, and we had a rough stretch, during the time that I was out, and came back, and I think I played the last 4 games of that season. We went 2-2, and finished again, 10-6, and 10-6. You normally think you're making the playoff with that record, but unfortunately, it was one of those years that just wasn't good enough.
Jay, go ahead, Brian.
I'm sorry, Jay. We had our listeners call in and ask you a question, or gave them the opportunity to call in and ask you a question. And one of our listeners called in with a question kind of related to that. If you don't mind, I can play it now. It's just 20 seconds.
Hey, this is Brandon calling from Northwest Indiana for Jay Fiedler. I just wanted to see what you think the 2002-2003 Dolphins would do in the football landscape today that's more of a pass-happy league. Appreciate your time. Thanks for all your time dedicated to the Dolphins. Go Fins.
All right, good question. Yeah, I mean, look, we were competing against anyone. I don't care. Back in 2002, 2003, today, we had some competitors in that locker room, and certainly the game has changed a little bit. It even changed, throughout the course of my career from when I first got into the league and to the end. But today I'd love to be playing quarterback today. Heck, you can't get hit. It's like 2-hand touch back in the pocket. You throw the ball high across the middle, and the defense gets a penalty. It's basically a free jump ball for your tight end in the middle of the field. You don't have to worry about sending them to the hospital. it's all good. I would have loved it playing right now.
That's great stuff, Jay. And, keeping to the 2002 year, you mentioned you had some x-rays. I don't know if you've, excuse me, gone into the archives of this show. We had Ricky Williams on a couple of days ago and mentioned week 3, that Jet game. I was so excited for that long run. I actually popped a hernia out. That Sunday night I was home from college because the next Monday I was actually getting that hernia fixed up. So we both had, that's literally a true story, everybody. But another monumental aspect of that year for you, not for me, but this was a celebratory situation, was when you were inducted into the National Jewish Museum Sports Hall of Fame. Not many people were an active NFL player to say that. So congratulations there, of course.
Thank you.
But what did that accomplishment mean to you, especially with, your story getting to that point?
Yeah, that was fantastic. And, being a someone that, young Jewish athletes could look up to, and, being a Jewish athlete in Miami, what better place to be other than the New York market? You got two of the top Jewish populations around, but it was fun. Where they hold the Jewish Sports Hall of Fame was up in Long Island, where I grew up, and I had actually played in the Maccabi games, which is the youth Olympics for Jewish athletes, and we played out of the JCC where the Hall of Fame was being housed. So I had a lot of history with the people that run the Hall of Fame, and they were always great with me, and it was an extreme honor for them to induct me, alongside some other great names that are in the Hall.
Just real quick to piggyback off of that, going back to that game post 9/11, I was up in Buffalo again, as a student from Long Island. There was a good 5 minutes where every single person was rooting for the New York quarterback on the Miami Dolphins. And it was an emotional time for me. 2 weeks after that happened, didn't know when I was going to go home and see family and whatnot. And everyone in that bar, there's 1 or 2 Dolphin fans, but everyone was rooting for you, and crossing that goal line was a huge moment as a New Yorker, as a Jewish man from New York. It was incredible.
That's great. I appreciate that. It's weird to hear that there are Dolphin fans up in Buffalo. I don't know how you survived up there.
I'm here. I'm in Philly. It's a friendly area, but I'm a glutton for punishment. Long Island, Buffalo, bring it on, Jay.
Jay, in 2004, we had Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Madison Sertain. We had just a crazy defense, but we also had Ricky Williams going for 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and that was the off season that he decided he had to step away from football, which I think we've all kind of come to terms with why he's made that decision now. But at the time, how disheartening was that for you and for the 2004 Dolphins? And were you able to speak to him before he decided, or before he went to Australia that year?
No, not immediately before he decided. That decision kind of took everyone by surprise, and I think he was out of town before anyone got a chance to really speak to him on that. But about a month before he did make that decision, I talked about my football camp up in New York, and he was at my camp that year. So it was early June. He was in upstate New York with me. I think it was Junior and Junior Seau and Ricky. That was a banner year for the campers in that football camp. They had some superstars, in that lineup. Robert Smith, who was a good buddy of mine from the Minnesota Vikings, teammate of mine there. Robert was at the camp as well, and he's come to my camp a number of years. And this was, shortly after he made that decision to retire early. And I know that Ricky and Robert, had some discussions. I wasn't, necessarily present, for all of that. But, I know that, the questions did come up, from Ricky, interested in why Robert made his decision. So, it wasn't a total shock, a total surprise, but, certainly the way it happened, really took everyone back a little bit. And but hey, everyone's got to make their decisions. What's best in their life, and whether he makes a decision to leave, or whether a team has to deal with someone getting injured and being out for a season. You got to move on and go forward without whoever is not there anymore. You got to play with the 53 that you got.
He did say that too when he was on. He was like, I pretty much instantly went to Australia and really didn't have to talk to anyone afterwards. So that was well played on his part, he said.
Certainly was.
Mm-hmm. So, Jay, be it another quarterback, a coach, or just a fellow player, who would you say had the most positive impact on your career as a quarterback?
I would say there were two guys, that were instrumental in my development, as a QB. I think first one was, my second year in Philadelphia, when a young offensive coordinator, first coordinator job came in. He was actually younger than our starting quarterback. I think he was 30 years old. Randall Cunningham was 32, and that was John Gruden. And going through that year, and just learning offensive football, and he brought that West Coast system that he had learned under Bill Walsh in San Francisco, and then under Mike Holmgren in Green Bay. And everyone knows John Gruden now, obviously, but he was just a young up and comer with a lot of attitude that was coming in Philadelphia. But just going through film work with him, learning the offense, learning how to dissect defenses, learning how plays get developed. It was like getting a PhD in football in that one season. From where I was, a year out of college, moving forward. So that was a huge part of my development, just in knowledge of the game and learning the game well. And then, and then the year in Jacksonville, playing with Tom Coughlin, he was really the first head coach, that I dealt with that, didn't care where you came from, didn't care who you were, where you were drafted, how much money you made. If you were the best guy on the field, best guy, you were getting the job. No politics, were being played. And when, your name was called, he expected you to perform. And, he didn't care if you were, the backup, the third string. If you had to go into the game, the system, the plays, the play calling wasn't getting changed. We were doing what we were doing, and you better step up your game and be ready to go. And just having that kind of coach behind you, and learning how to prepare for games, the way he did, certainly one of the best coaches that I've been around throughout my career. So those two guys probably had the most impact on me, in my development. And then, being around a couple of great coaches in Miami as well, with Chan Gailey and Norv Turner as, two offensive coordinators that I dealt with. I had some pretty good minds to learn from throughout my career, and, some great people, to develop my game with.
Jay, we've been very fortunate to, obviously we're speaking to you. We've interviewed a number of guys from your team, from your era. We're having Jamie Nails tomorrow. We've had Chris Chambers, Ricky Williams. Other than those guys, maybe I've mentioned one, but is there a guy who has a special place in your heart, whether it's just, work ethic or a story or just anything fun to be around? Any quick little tidbits for us?
Probably the one guy, from Miami that had a tremendous impact, and unfortunately not around with us anymore, was Junior Seau. He was, a guy that, you're astounded with every time you saw him, in practice, in a game situation. He had the energy that, was on, volume 12, when everyone else was playing on volume 10. He was just a fun guy to be around in the locker room. He was always positive with everything he was doing, and what a tremendous player he was, and tremendous competitor. It was fun having him as a teammate, and certainly a guy that I miss to this day.
We just have a few more questions. We're going to jump into the current team in a second here. But this year, since, obviously Coach Shula passed this year, and every player and media member that, has got to spend time with Coach Shula, we like to ask this question on kind of maybe at the end of the year, we'll make a montage of it. That do you have any? I know you didn't play for him, but he was obviously around the team a lot back then. Do you have any stories or memories about Coach that epitomize him or celebrate his life, or anything that really stands out to you about Coach Shula?
No particular story about him. I didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with him, but I did get some limited time to be around him, and spent a lot more time with his son Mike, who was quarterback coach for those first couple of years in Miami. But it was great that when Dave took over as the head coach, he kind of made it a point to make the alumni, make the history of Miami a focal point again. And I know there were a few years with Jimmy, obviously coming in and replacing Shula. He kind of had not that he wasn't welcome, but word was it that there was a little tension with having Coach Shula around during those times, and Dave really made it a point when he took over to really welcome him back. And I remember him coming out and visiting practice. He was always make an appearance every training camp, at least for a day, to come out and watch the team. And he was just such a gracious, tremendous man to be around. Obviously a legend in Miami and in the NFL. And I'm a big historian of NFL football, so being around guys like that that built the game, that built the NFL, and are busts in the Hall of Fame for a reason. He was just a great person to be around and to converse with and learn from just how to be competitive, but how to still be have great character in everything that you do.
Like that.
Absolutely.
That's nice to hear. So I guess shifting our focus back towards the present day a little bit. Well, you mentioned Chan Gailey a little bit ago. You played 2 years under him. Now, are you shocked with the pass to run ratio this season? How he's been coordinating this offense?
Not really. Look, Chan's always had a reputation of being adaptable to, even from a week-to-week basis or year-to-year basis, based on, what he's got to work with and what the matchups look like. So we go in with, a lot of different game plans, every year. He came from from Pittsburgh, prior to coming down to Miami, and, had the Cordell Stewart years with Slash, that he was doing all kinds of different, at the time, very innovative, things on offense. So, things that would probably be normal today, utilizing a lot, the athletic quarterbacks. So he was able to play to my strengths. When he was coaching me, getting me out of the pocket on the move. Utilizing my ability to both throw from the pocket and run out of the pocket in those games. And and he's also just a great coordinator and setting up the run game. For running backs to be successful and creating blocking schemes and formations to get your guys in the best matchups in run schemes. So, it's no surprise that, again, he's adaptable and, doing, whatever it takes to find those matchups week in and week out.
Very cool. I think you kind of answered the follow-up question, which was going to be, what does he do well to help young quarterbacks adjust fast? If there's anything more, I mean.
Well, look, I think the biggest thing is he makes you comfortable in what you're going to be, doing each week. He doesn't run a system where, you have to, adapt your game totally to what he's doing. He adapts, his offense a little bit, and it's a, give and take relationship with the quarterback of, trying to expand what the QB can do, and also, play to the strengths of what they do best.
There's a bit of me though that wants me to see him turn Jordan Howard back into Lamar Smith. I think those two guys look exactly alike.
Yeah,
I would love to see him get a renaissance going with that. We haven't seen it yet, but there's still a lot of season left. I just lost my cards here. If the next guy go up, my question just went away.
That's all right. A lot of football left to be played this season, but what he was going to go into was, have you gotten the chance? Have you seen a lot of Tua, and what are your thoughts and expectations for him?
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw a decent amount of him in Alabama. Obviously, tremendous competitor. What he did, coming in that first championship game. I don't know if that was his freshman year or I think it was his freshman year.
Yeah.
That he came in at halftime, replaced Jalen Hurts, and there was a big controversy coming out of that second half that Saban put him in, but he obviously knew something, about the competitiveness that he had, and he lit it up that game, and then continued, throughout the following season. So that he could go out there and light it up. Obviously the biggest question mark coming out was his injury history, and that's something that you can't really account for right now. But I'm looking forward to watching him play. I'm looking forward to seeing him develop, and I know Chan Gailey. Certainly, I'm sure he's got a nice package ready for him when he's ready to go out and when Coach Flores pulls the trigger.
Very good to hear, Jay. We're all very much looking forward to that. And, I got a little bit of a hardball question for you right now, and you have to excuse me. But as someone who is a veteran upstate New York, overnight former group leader for a competing camp, I'd like to know if you know of any camp, particularly within 15 minutes of Monticello, that might offer a sports broadcasting program, since I have to find a camp to get my kids to one of these summers.
Well, that's exactly what we do. Amazing. No, we actually do. Yes. So we, it's fine. I mentioned earlier in the podcast that, we kind of created a little bit of a niche in what we do. At the Sports Academy in Brookwood Camps, and one of the first programs that I decided to highlight and develop was the sports broadcasting program. It was through my relationships with guys like Steve Levy and Adam Schefter, and being actually they were Belmore JFK, you're Plainview JFK, but
yeah, it's all right.
Some good Long Island guys that got into the sports broadcasting business, and I've had great relationships with them. So we bring up some tremendous guys year in and year out. We have Mike Breen up there not this past summer, obviously COVID put us down for this year, but in 2019 Mike Breen made an appearance. We have Kenny Albert comes up year in and year out. Steve Levy, Adam Schefter have all been up with our sports broadcasting program, and we just built a couple of years ago a nice big 5,000 square foot studio to house the program in, and now that you're, knowing that you guys are up in the Northeast, we're going to have to get you up to make a surprise visit as well.
Anytime, I would be honored. Bring the kids; they'll check out the grounds, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Savak, thank you so much for stepping up there. Jay, I'm the IT guy here. I'm handling like all the ones and twos, and to have the computer die on me, that was a bit embarrassing. I'm sure they'll let me hear about that for weeks to come. But
the locker room ribbon after this.
Yeah, exactly. We'll finish it up with this question. We do it with all of our guests. It's a two-parter. Before we let you go, we need two predictions from you. One, what week do you think we will see Tua make his debut?
Oof, that's a good question. I think a lot of people were expecting this week was going to be a possibility, and I think Flores just came out a couple days ago and said that Fitzy was going to be back. But I would say probably in about week 7 or 8. Is around the time, but you got to see how it plays out. Fitzy's got certainly got an ability to go on a roll, and he's a streaky quarterback, and he could get hot. And if you start talking about Tua, coming in, that's the time that he's usually going to get hot when you start to doubt him. So. My prediction, if I had to say a week, I'll say week 8, but definitely don't count 14 out.
I gotta say too, there's a little bit of you and Fitzy, and a little bit of Fitzy and you, just that heart, that ability to.
You got two gritty Ivy League guys.
Yeah, exactly. Just and just all heart and just throw it all on the line there. It's usually a running play that would just turn a game around, and I see him running sometimes, and I'm just like, that's Jay Fiedler. It's just crazy. So the last prediction.
I loved it a couple weeks ago when he got that block in.
Oh man, yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Throwing his shoulder in there.
You did that.
Great
You
to
did
see.
that on Ricky Run.
I loved watching that stuff.
Yeah, that block you threw for Ricky it went viral on Twitter about 2 weeks ago.
Yep.
But the last prediction is, what do you think what would be your record prediction for the 2020 Miami Dolphins?
Well, look, I think they got so they got through a pretty tough stretch in the schedule. First 4 weeks with Seattle, and a couple, the two of their AFC East rivals. Bills and Pats are always a tough game. This week, 49ers were supposed to be a tough game, but with all their injury situation, who knows, with that. But, I would say, what are they, 1-3 right now? I'll give them 7 and 9 by the end of the season.
Maybe one more year in that last playoff victory that you got will be no more. We'll get a playoff victory next year.
Well, let's hope so. Let's hope I'm wrong. Let's hope I'm underselling them a little bit. So heck, I'd love to see them make a run and get back to the playoffs and get that victory. Long overdue.
I like that though, taking the safe bet. Well, just in case, let's say 7 and 9.
Jay, thank you so much for your time. That was so enjoyable, almost enjoyable as watching you play. And as we end with all of our past Dolphins, we got to go out with the old fins up.
Fins up.
All right. It was great.
Have a great night,
you guys here.
Thank you again to Jay Fiedler. What an honor. But before we get into our reflections on that, we got to take a moment to pay the bills. So, Brian, hit him with the ad, please.
Right at this moment, there are men everywhere, doing manly things. Beards unkempt, hair run amok, leaving them in a state of hair despair. And that's just what we can see. Never mind what's going on downstairs. But it doesn't have to be that way. Thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com and enter our promo code FINSUP to save an instant 20%, get free shipping, and help quell the hair despair in your life. These bearded bros are counting on you. Won't you help them?
Oh, that's always fun.
It never gets old to me. So I got to tell you guys, I did sterilize the lawnmower 3.0, and I shaved my face with it today. I don't know if you guys saw the press conference earlier today. Mike Gesicki was told by Ryan Fitzpatrick that he had to grow the goatee after his career 8 catches, 100 and some odd yards, and then they won the following game and he got a touchdown. So Fitzpatrick wouldn't let him shave. Well, they lost last week. It was the second week in a row with his only 1 reception. So, I had to do the same thing. I went and I shaved the beard with the hedge trichomer 3.0. And I actually brought it to the office, but I wasn't sure that I got it all perfect. So I brought it to the office just to make sure that everything was kept in. Man, there is no trimmer on the market like the Manscaped 3.0. Well, I think I said hedge trimmer, but it's the lawnmower 3.0. Such a great product. And also, every time we interview Miami Dolphins, I get a little hot, I get a little verklempt, and I always have to do a double dip of that ball deodorant, make sure I just stay fresh throughout the entire interview, and it never fails. So
you got to be careful about getting all hot and bothered. I know that these guests, they elicit such emotions. It's hard not to, but I couldn't agree more. Gotta love that trimmer. Used mine a little bit earlier today. Of course, had to clean it all up. That thing is fantastic. That LED light lets you see what you're doing. I mean, you can shave in the dark if you really want to. I probably wouldn't recommend it, but you can knock yourself out, please. But go there, manscaped.com, promo code FINSUP, save your 20%, get free shipping, and let us know how it works for you. Anyways, let's get on to the reflections, fellas. How about that interview? How about Jay frickin' Fiedler, guys? Jason, tell me, man, what's going through your mind right now?
I'm actually just really getting sent back to the time where I literally had hernia surgery, and our last guest was Ricky. It all comes together. It's like the Ricky run to pop my hernia out, Bronco overtime game, Jay Fiedler hurts his finger, I get my second hernia surgery. Week later, I fly back to Buffalo, and we start the 2002 decline. But, what can I tell you? But Jay's terrific. He really is. It was a fun interview. He really is, a fun guy just to hear, literally hear. I love the New York and the Queens accent. It's just such a welcoming, knowing that I'm not around my brethren anymore up in Long Island or the city. But anyway, fantastic guy, fantastic, gritty competitor. It was really a pleasure. And hey, sports broadcasting camp? Are you kidding me? I got a 9 and a 5-year-old. My wife and I are looking at maybe, hopefully next summer, get a little bit of 6-7 weeks off. I don't know. Camp Brookwood Camps. Might have to check it out.
Absolutely. The camp sounds kind of awesome. I hope he was so serious about having us up there, because I'd love to make an appearance. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that was surreal. When Jay took over quarterback for the Dolphins, I actually, I'm from upstate New York, and this was, before DirecTV, so it was like, occasionally I'd get to see 3 or 4 Dolphins games a year. Well, when Jay took over, I moved down to Florida, and I literally saw every game that man started, his entire Dolphins career, seeing that Sports Illustrated in the background, that 9/11 victory, it just all heart him. If he doesn't make that touchdown, there was no next play. The time was done. There was no timeouts. It was just an amazing play. The Bronco game, I love that. I was telling Savak beforehand, during that Bronco game, I was recording and I was flying back from Florida, or from New York, and I flew into Florida. The game was still on. It was on in every TV in the airport. And it was 2002, so it wasn't that long after 9/11. So the game's playing. I know I'm recording it. I don't want to know the score. So not thinking that it was just 9/11, I put my fingers in my ear and I start screaming and I just run out of the airport. I mean, was so lucky that I wasn't tackled, but I didn't find out the score. But, you know, speaking of Jay, was unreal. It brought me back to so many great memories. I have such a special place in my heart for that team with Ricky Williams, Chris. I mean, we've been so lucky to have these guys on. It's like we're almost like doing one team base at a time. But, you know, we had Chris Chambers, Ricky Williams, Jay Fiedler. We were having Jamie Nails on tomorrow. We got to move over to the defensive side of the ball. That defense is my favorite defense of all time, with Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Sam Madison, Patrick Surtain, Tim Bowens, the unheralded Daryl Gardner. It was great to talking to him, and I really do, you know, now that I brought it up in the show, the Ryan Fitzpatrick comparison is just so real. It's you know, it's true kind of on both parts. There's, you know, that Fitz magic part and there's that Fitz tragic part. There's some of the games Jay Fiedler just put us on his back, like in that Raiders game. And there was a couple games there too where, you know, he turned a little tragic, had a couple interceptions, like the Colts playoffs win. He had 3 interceptions in the first half, but he gutted out the victory. But, you know, just they didn't have that Tua, you know, talent. They didn't have that pedigree, but, you know, that Ivy League smarts, that Ivy League heart, and they just were unstoppable. And it was fun to watch. It was such a good time to talk to. But literally sometimes I see Fitzpatrick go on a 10-yard run where everyone should be able to catch him and tackle him, but he just knows the play better than everybody. He gets free for 10 yards, gets that first down, gets the emotion going, gets the fans going. And, you know, it just reminds me of Fiedler. And, you know, what a great interview. What another fun night spent with my friends at the Fin Addicts, speaking to, you know, childhood heroes, basically. So just
hey,
super...
that kind of goes double for me, because you have to figure around that time I was about 8 to 10 years old. You know, this is when I really first started watching. He was the starter. And so it's surreal is the right word for it. You kind of nailed it with that one. And I think it's kind of moving anytime you get to actually have a conversation with somebody that you controlled it played as in a video game, you know?
Exactly.
It's just like I told Chris Chambers when we were talking to him, that's the quarterback who was, you know, I was throwing those dimes with, was Jay Fiedler. So very, very surreal. It's awesome. He's such a nice guy, and he, you know, just wow. And I got to say, I do love everything that he was talking about with his camps. I think that's pretty cool. You know, as soon as you finish up, you just take the time to dedicate your efforts towards helping children and stuff. And I think that's fantastic. Family run business. I was perusing the website a little bit, you know, wanted to do my homework on it, and looks like they're doing some really cool stuff up there. So thank you again, Jay Fiedler. Hope to chat again soon. And
we're going to definitely.
Go ahead, Jason.
No, we're going to, I mean, I'm sure between Brian, myself, and Yusuf, we're going to take them up on that invite, because I'll tell you, I know that area well. I know the sleepaway camp business well. And for people who don't know it, definitely jump on his website. It doesn't even do it justice. It literally is some of the coolest facilities that you could ever step foot on. And I'm sure if we get an opportunity and a chance, you guys will understand what I'm talking about. But for me, to hear the stories for, you know, a guy who is a New Yorker, an underdog, surreal is a perfect word. What an hour.
And so we have Jamie Nails on tomorrow from that area. We probably got to bring on Aronde Gadsden, maybe Randy McMichael. And then, so if you guys are listening, please, let's book you up. Let's get you on the show. And then we got to move over to that defense. So Sam Madison, Pat Surtain, Zach Thomas, we are doing everything we possibly can to get Jason Taylor on the show. I know you guys have seen all the giveaways we're doing with the Jason Taylor Foundation. So hopefully after Randy McMichael, we'll transition over to the defense, and then maybe we'll move on to like the Wildcat team or get Ronnie Brown on here. We'll move on to the
And
next.
if anybody from the 72 team, the perfect team is listening, we'll welcome you on. Zonk, Mercury. We'll make some schedule adjustments for you all.
Please, there is room for anybody. If you donned these colors, you are welcome on this show. So, let's make it happen, please.
Let's put it all out there in the universe. Duper and Clayton, I'm talking to you too. I need you on this show really bad. So we'll definitely listen. Well, we'll let you guys come on. We'll do the honor.
The door is always
open.
open.
Fin Addicts.
That's right. That's right.
Savak, why don't you wrap us up and get us out of here with some housekeeping?
Aw, you guys don't want to keep hanging out? All right, fine. Let's jump into it. Make sure you subscribe to the Fin Addicts Miami Dolphins podcast, wherever podcasts are available. You guys know where to find them. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify. I'm sure there's some other ones out there I'm forgetting, but, those are the big guys. We do what we do for all of you, so get on there and leave us a nice review. Make sure to follow us, the Fin Addicts Network on YouTube, youtube.com/Fin Addicts Network. And, of course, follow us on Twitter at Fin_Addicts. And you just got JT Foundation on here. Can you elaborate, Brian?
Yes. So we have such an amazing thing going on right now with the JT Foundation. On October 21st, the All-In for Literacy Poker Tournament is going on. I have bought 5 tickets. So four of us for the Fin Addicts, and Jason already has his ticket. So we have an extra ticket to go on to this poker tournament. And what Seth Levitt over at the JT Foundation has done for us is he's going to do a little side bet. The winner of the Fin Addicts poker, whoever is the best finish of all that, plus the free one that we're giving away, is going to get a Jason Taylor signed 2017 Hall of Fame mini helmet. All you have to do to get in this poker tournament, subscribe to our YouTube, DM us a screenshot that you subscribed, or email it to us at info@FinAddictsNetwork. If any of what I just said didn't make sense to you, just email us at info@FinAddictsNetwork.com, or go to Fin_Addicts on Twitter and be like, Brian, how do I get in that poker tournament? You do not want to miss this. A signed Jason Taylor Hall of Fame mini helmet. It's just too good to miss up. Not to mention, the poker tournament is amazing. You get to play poker with Jason Taylor, Joy Taylor, OJ McDuffie, former Dolphins, Jason Sarney, Savak, myself, just a who's who of Miami sports personalities. So get in on that. You don't want to miss it. Any questions, info@FinAddictsNetwork.com. And like I said, by the time this is up tomorrow, we'll be shooting another podcast, our week 5 preview with the San Francisco 49ers. Jamie Nails is going to join us for the first 15 minutes. He'll give us his breakdown on that O-line. So you don't want to miss that. Gentlemen, another great night. Fins up, baby.
Fins
Hands
up.
up.